Akers bring the offense, and what was it like coaching him in LA?
Well, Cam is a talented back. He's tough. He's a hard runner. He's a physical runner. He's got good hands. Really enjoyed my time with Cam, and for him right now, he's stepping into the building today. So, kind of see where he's at, and obviously. Some of the terminology will be the same for him, which is nice, but there'll be other things that, details and things that we've changed since we've been with him that he's going to have to pick up on. But just excited to bring, a guy that we have familiarity with and a guy that is a talented guy into the building and just see where he's at.
Do you think that crossover will help, and how realistic is it for him to be ready for Sunday?
We're really going to have to see just kind of where he's at. Like I said, just today in the building, it certainly will help him that he's been in a system. A lot of the terminology will be similar, and protection-wise, most of it will be very similar, which is always a big thing for running backs, being able to trust a guy to put him in the game and know his blitz pickups, all those types of things. But we'll just see where he's at.
What about his skill set will be unique to the room that you guys didn't have before?
I think each back has their own little kind of style, and I wouldn't say necessarily that each guy's, they all have something about them. Without comparisons, I would just say, like I said, that he's a downhill runner. He's a physical back. He's got good quickness. He's proven that he can catch the ball, not just in the short to intermediate, but he's caught some balls down the field, really using his hands. So we're just excited to have him in here.
To what extent does the bring him in reflect your or the larger coaching staff building's assessment of the running back position? How did you guys need help? What was the sort of impetus there?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that. For the most part, we're always trying to look to add talent to the roster. And Cam's a guy that we feel like can do that for us. So no really indication of anything that's going on except for we're always going to try to add good players.
Just to be blunt, does that Alexander Madison still remains the top back in all regards?
Well, I always let Kevin talk about starters and all those types of things, but we haven't lost confidence in Alex Madison. Okay, I will say that. Unfortunately, we've had a couple turnovers in the run game where we obviously need to clean that up. Everyone's aware of that, but we still feel very strongly in Alex, in Ty, and those guys being able to go in and produce. And we know we have to be better in the run game, and a lot of that starts with us and then with the players fundamentally. Okay, all those things we've addressed, and from what I saw yesterday in the first practice, I think it will improve dramatically.
How is Cam's ball security? So he had 2 fumbles last year, but quite a few carries, I guess.
Well, every back, it's a one play thing. You got to protect it every time. Like you said, he has had a couple fumbles, but in general, I don't think he's had a fumbling problem. But it's really the intentional practice day in and day out. It's got to be. It can't be, hey, once the game starts, now I'm really securing it. It's got to be something that's natural, because most times when you do fumble, it's in an awkward body position. You're twisting, you're spinning, you're going to the ground, and it just gets loose because it's not natural. When you're going to the ground, your natural response is to put your hands down, right? Cam is an intentional guy as far as practice. He always practiced well. He always practiced hard. He's got a good energy about him in the huddle. I know the guys always responded to him. kind of uplifting in the huddle as far as, hey, let's go, let's get this. So we'll see where he's at.
Kevin talked yesterday about reviewing the run game this weekend. Just what were some of your takeaways as you went through it and evaluated just the start thus far?
Well, I think we've had moments where, you know, a lot of these things, whether it be run game or pass game, but in the run game, a lot of times it's just, if we would have got this one guy, like guys take their turns as far as whether it's the back on his track or his read, whether it's just one block away or whether it's a technique on a combination or a hat placement on a second level. All those things we look at, and obviously when you're struggling a little bit, we wanted to address it. So we brought them all up and we watched them. We watched them as a unit, and we talked about places where we could get better, and we also talked about places where we could have put them in a better position.
Hey Wes, what's the balance like getting Dalton Risner up to speed with also trying to get the practice reps for the guys who can be ready Sunday?
Dalton's another guy who's been one practice with us, but the thing about Dalton is he's started a lot of football games. So he's got a wealth of experience and he's got an understanding of whatever these calls are. He just got to get the terminology down and make sure he's really on point. The good thing generally is whether they know the calls or not. A lot of times these guards, as long as they know which way, am I on the man side, I'm on the slide side in a pass pro. It's really the more exotic fronts in pass pro and those types of calls where they have to kind of get up to speed. But a mid zone, a wide zone, a tight zone, all those things are going to be very similar as far as how he's going to hit blocks, how he's going to hit combinations. So I think you'll see that he'll move quickly as far as the mental in those types of areas. It's just some of those when you get into third downs and you're making specific calls. This is how we pick up some of these fronts or looks. That's where he's gonna, take a minute to get up to speed.
Wes, you were hoping for continuity on the offensive line, bringing back all the starters, and then changed pretty quickly. I guess what's the biggest challenge of having to move people in and out over these first 2 weeks along the line?
Yeah, you love continuity, but you also know that just the nature of that position across the NFL, you're going to have some change, some turnover, some injury happen, and just for us, unfortunately, it happened early in the year. But when you have a new center plan, when you have a backup tackle and then a third tackle playing in a game. You just hope that from practice, from preparation, that those guys are, like we always say, you're one snap away from playing. Even if you're on the practice squad, you're an elevation away, and it could happen 2 days before the game. So you always have to prepare as if you're playing in the game, and when your opportunity comes, you got to be ready for it.
Jordan Addison, those explosive plays, is that his route running? Is that defense is focusing on Jefferson? Is it Cousins getting to the read quick? Like, how did those happen?
I think there's a combination. I think Jordan is a very good route runner, and I think Kirk has found the times when the coverage presented to get to him, particularly on those deeper touchdowns where, on one of them against Tampa, he's really kind of the top shelf of the read, really the first read. If the coverage presents, Kirk recognizes it and launches. Against Philly, he's more of the backside of the read. If coverage presents and pushes over, we kind of had a little fake screen there, right, with him on the backside. So everything pushed over. We got great protection where Kirk was able to step up and make a clean throw to him. So, I think you'll just see, as Jordan keeps playing in this league, you'll see more and more plays from him.
What are the challenges of preparing for Brandon Staley and just that defense they've got?
I think one of the challenges is the multiple personnel groupings that they have. Some of it even looks the same, but they have more rushers in this package, or they have more big guys in this package. He can get really specific with what he's trying to take away or hoping to take away, with how many big D linemen are in the game, how many outside backers are in the game. They have packages with 4 defensive linemen and 2 outside backers on the edge, kind of that 6'1" big people look. I mean, they have a lot of different ways that they can defend you, and you're never really sure which ones he's going to activate. They can put Derwin James at the nickel and play kind of a big nickel and get him closer to the line of scrimmage. So just being able to be prepared and make sure we understand what we want to attack versus all of those different groupings, and kind of what he wants to get to in those groupings is going to be key. Thanks.